How would you like to confidently and consistently out-negotiate powerful vendors, professional buyers, and even experienced executives? How would you like to significantly shorten the time that it takes you to close a deal? How would you like to skillfully lead negotiation teams and to masterfully overcome any and all price objections? How would you like to easily recognize, use, and counter 99% of all commercial negotiation tactics? And how would you like to do all of this without being salesy or sleazy? You see, there are four different kinds of business negotiators out there. First, we have the adversarial competitor. These folks are highly adversarial, but they're not very teachable. They have low relationship skills, they have few friendships in place, very low level of personal awareness. Negotiation for them is only a step in the sales or buying process. They think that negotiation is something that's used to resolve conflict and that it's complicated. And so they have a low level of personal confidence and a weak identity, and they don't really believe in the power of preparation to make sure that you're successful. Then almost the opposite to this is we get the friendly accommodators. Now these folks, they're teachable, but they tend to be very naive, right? So they have high relationship skills and they have many friendships, but they have a very low level of personal awareness. They also think negotiation is complicated and that it's intended to resolve conflict. They also think that negotiation is a step in the sales or the buying process, so it's not a process in itself, but a step. And they also have a low level of personal confidence, tend to have a weak identity, and they're also not very good at preparation. Then we get the adversarial compromisers. Now these folks are teachable, but only in a single dimension. They tend to be overconfident, right? So they have, contrary to what they believe, actually pretty low relationship skills because they only use those relationship skills to further their own needs, right? They also tend to have few friendships, a low level of personal awareness. They think of negotiation as a process, so they get that negotiation is a process, right? They understand that negotiation starts early, but they also think that negotiation is mainly targeted towards resolving conflict, right? They are skilled at using persuasive techniques to negatively manipulate the situation. They have a misplaced confidence, often arrogance, and they know that practice leads to building muscle memory. So these folks tend to be well prepared. And then we have the strategic collaborators. Now these folks are highly teachable and humble at the same time. They have a high level of relationship skills. They have many friendships. As a matter of fact, they're often friends with their vendors or with their clients, right? They have a very high level of personal awareness. They tend to be confident communicators. They realize that negotiation is a process and that it starts the first time you contact your counterpart. They tend to focus on common ground. So they depart from an assumption that negotiation is not there to resolve conflict, but rather to uncover common ground. They're very good at using persuasive techniques, but to positively manipulate the environment. They believe in preparation to build muscle memory through exercise and negotiation simulations, and they embrace a very high level of preparation. So let's move on to what I call the sales negotiation defect, the critical defect that tends to present itself in the sales environment and also in the buying process, where most people think that negotiation is an event. It's not a process itself. It's something that happens as part of the sales process, or it's something that happens as part of the procurement process. But the truth is that negotiation starts the very first moment that you interact with your counterpart. Right? That's a moment that you use to manage expectations, to anchor the discussion, to create reference points, to frame the discussion, to create context. So what you see here on this slide is how negotiation is something that happens along each step of the sales process. If you only think that negotiation happens when you're talking about price, when you're talking turkey, then I can guarantee you that there's value left on the table in your sales or procurement process. You see, only business people who truly understand what negotiation is, that it's not just a method of resolving conflict and that it's not an event, only those business people can extract full value from their deal-making efforts. You see, the business world has significantly changed over the last 2 to 3 decades. There's been a wholesale breakdown of trust in the corporate world. A handshake is simply not good enough anymore. Agreements are easily broken, and relationships have become increasingly less important than ever in the world of big business. Then you add to that the serious momentum towards a digital workplace that's been taking place over the last decade, which is significantly accelerated in the face of the pandemic, right? So now we have a myriad of communication tools available to us. We have things like Zoom and instant messaging and texting and phone calls and you name it. And I'm sure that there'll be more methods added. So misunderstanding others has become easier than it's ever been. Hi, I'm Jan Potgieter. And if you would like to confidently and consistently out-negotiate powerful vendors, professional buyers, and experienced executives, if you would like to significantly shorten the time that it takes you to close a deal, and if you'd like to skillfully lead negotiation teams and masterfully overcome all price objections, and if you'd like to easily recognize, use, and counter 99% of all negotiation tactics out there, and if you want to do all of that without being salesy or sleazy, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm also going to share with you the 3 biggest mistakes that most business negotiators are making. I'm going to share with you 2 things that elite level deal makers have present in their approach to negotiations that the strugglers don't. And I'm going to share with you the simple 4-step system that gets deals closed fast and high. Over the past 17 years, I've had the opportunity to train more than 12,000 people in a face-to-face environment in a small group format of 10 to 12 people at a time. I've worked in most major industries, including some of the world's leading brand names representing the Fortune 500 and the FTSE 100. You'll see that I've had the opportunity to also work in more than 65 countries, and I've had the opportunity to learn from many different cultures and touch just about every major industry. Over my career of almost 30 years now, I've had the opportunity to live and work in South Africa, in the United States, and the United Kingdom, which has helped me to get my head around business, not just from a monocultural perspective, but from a multicultural global perspective. So if you're a business negotiator looking to confidently and consistently save time and close more, higher and sooner, if you're looking to out-negotiate vendors, professional buyers, and senior executives, and if you're looking to follow a proven negotiation process, then you're definitely in the right place. Here are the top 3 categories of business negotiators that I work with. Number 1, large global corporations selling and buying high-end, expensive, and complex products, services, and solutions to or from other organizations, including the public sector, all over the world. Secondly, owners and executives in small and medium-sized enterprises selling or buying products, services, and solutions to or from other businesses. And lastly, individuals or contractors selling products, services, and solutions to high net worth individuals or organizations. Here's one of our clients, Laura Baker. At the time that we worked with her, she was working for Saudi Aramco as communication managers. And immediately after we completed the training assignment, they saved thousands of dollars because they realized that they could actually negotiate when they didn't realize that they had an opportunity to negotiate, right? So they merely understanding that negotiation is not an event, but a process, immediately translated into savings for them. Here we have Klaus Peter Meyer from Adidas, where Adidas were looking to really find a company to work with to equip them with a process for getting ready for negotiations so that they could really understand all the tools at their disposal to make sure that their people in their negotiations with, clubs, federations, for partnerships, sponsorships, that they could make sure that they truly understand the interests of their counterparts and that they could present a compelling case to close deals in the shortest time possible. Then we have Carlos Campos, the CEO of Peculiar Corporation. And Carlos in his small business really lacked a sales negotiation process. They lacked the confidence to negotiate with large corporations. And immediately after the training, he fed back to us that his team now had the ability to effectively handle objections and to confidently approach these negotiations. And some months after the engagement, he fed back to me that they have increased both the closing rate as well as the profitability of the deals that they close with their counterparts. So what is it that makes some negotiators close exceptional deals with both vendors and clients almost effortlessly. Well, after training more than 12,000 business negotiators in 65 countries and negotiating face-to-face on camera with more than 4,000 students and being in this industry for 20 years, I've realized that successful business negotiators have two things present in their deal-making approach, while the grinders have only one of the two, but most of the time, none. If you have both of these things present in your business negotiations, then you can easily and consistently outperform the market and your competitors, literally by orders of magnitude. The best way I can describe this to you is with a story about the Wright brothers and how they invented the first airplane. You see, back in 1903, the race was on to invent the world's first airplane. As you can see in this picture, the focus really was on the engine. Almost everybody pursuing, the title to be first in flight went after the engine as the focal point, right? They tried to build the biggest, most powerful engine they possibly could because they believed that, speed and the power of the engine is a determining factor. And while they're doing that, they completely ignored the aerodynamics, as you can see in this picture. And of course, that didn't work. What did the Wright brothers do? They took a completely different approach. What they did is while the world was totally obsessed over the engine issue, they really looked at the plane's aerodynamics, right? And so they focused on a plane that could glide without an engine in the first instance, with a view to later then strap an engine to it. And we all know how that worked out. They succeeded where the others failed. Now today, in the way that we approach business negotiations, most people are repeating the history of the engine obsession. You see, most deal makers are obsessed with features and benefits or in presenting arguments that justify their services and perspectives, and they completely ignore the implementation of a simple, proven business negotiation system, which, by the way, is not a complex CRM or Salesforce management system, to close highly profitable deals with vendors, professional buyers, and C-level executives. You see, most deal makers are obsessed with new ways to pitch or the next best set of manipulative tactics to challenge customer thinking, or ways to strategically win accounts and opportunities, or even the latest tactics from hostage negotiations. But in reality, all they are doing is strapping a larger and larger, even more complex engine to a fundamentally flawed plane. Remember how I told you that successful business negotiators have two things present in their approach that the grinders don't? Well, the two things you need for business negotiation success is, number one, you need consistency through a proven and simple system. And secondly, you need mastery, you need skills, and those can only be gained through exercise and simulation. Because it comes down to this: if you don't have a predictable negotiation system and you don't build your negotiation strength or skills against resistance, then you are not an elite level negotiator. But the good news is that the digital age has made it easier than ever for you to develop truly elite level business negotiation skills. Let's take a look at the three biggest mistakes that most business negotiators are making. Number one, they tend to negotiate with themselves, right? So much of the negotiation is taking place in their own minds and heads that they actually do not explore potential common ground with their counterparts. They discount themselves. They think to themselves, no, they'll never go for that. No, this will not be reasonable. So what they actually do is they empower themselves to make decisions on behalf of their counterparts, and they don't give their counterparts the opportunity to say no to them. Secondly, people just don't prepare for negotiation, right? Very simply put, you will not ever expect to win a gold medal at the Olympics if you've not prepared. Why would you expect to win the gold medal in doing business if you're not prepared? Most people don't prepare, though. If they do prepare for negotiation, often the kind of preparation is wrong, right? It's why would you prepare in a way that succeeds in hostage negotiations or in conflict negotiations for business negotiations? That would be like preparing, cycling to try to excel in playing baseball. It makes no sense. You have to have correct set of guidelines and checklists in place to properly prepare for business-related negotiations. And lastly, most people just do not ever practice. They don't practice their skills, right? They don't participate in simulations. Now, you would never expect to be successful in anything in business, politics, arts, sports, in any of those environments, why would you expect elite level results if you never develop your skills, if you never practice against resistance? So having looked at those three mistakes, what does the right business negotiation system look like then? Right? So how can you empower yourself to make sure that you can consistently get the results that you need from your negotiations individually as well as organizationally? Well, number one, you need to understand negotiation from a strategic perspective. You need to have a negotiation strategy in place, right? For your organization, for your team or your division, as well as for specific deals. You got to have a game plan, right? You have to prepare. Once you've got the game plan, secondly, you have to prepare. You have to have in place scripts, for simple, straightforward, repeatable type of transactions, simple transactions, and then for complex, big deals, you need to have a checklist in place, something that equips you to consistently apply negotiation best and leading practices. You need to participate in exercises and simulations, right? This is the way that you will refine your scripts. This is the way that you will empower yourself with the confidence that you need to succeed, right? And you do this in a number of different ways related to specific, simulations that relate to the kind of deals that you're normally engaged in, as well as some exercises and simulations that will help you to deal with the negotiation tactics that you're most likely to encounter in just about any negotiation environment. Lastly, there's no success without review and analysis, right? Without measurement, there can be no improvement, right? So the very basic thing is, whatever you do not measure, it's not possible for you to improve. You have to look at your individual negotiation capability, but you also have to consider your team, division, or organization's capability. How does that contrast against your competitors and your counterparts? Let's take a look at the kind of results that you can expect if you successfully implement this system. Increased financial rewards through reducing or completely eliminating discounting against your list prices. Shortened deal cycles, saving both time and resource costs. You will definitely experience significantly increased deal closing rates. There'll be an increase in your average deal size through building a crystal clear picture of both your and your counterpart's interests. You can expect significant time saving through the eradication of miscommunication and misunderstanding between you and your counterpart, as well as between you and your team members. You can expect to be able to stand your ground against vendors and professional buyers through equipping yourself with a solid grasp of all commercial negotiation strategies, tactics, and techniques, and you'll be equipped to confidently go toe-to-toe with both senior executives and the toughest business negotiators in the world. And the best part is all you have to do is follow a simple but proven business negotiation process. You'll finally have that airplane design that focuses on the aerodynamics, not the engine, that allows your business negotiation results to soar. Meet Ed Cozier, Managing Director of Next Tech Limited. Now, Ed is a brilliant man, brilliant scientist, and he always followed an intuitive approach to his sales negotiations with large corporations. His eyes opened to the possibilities after he put himself and his team through our training program. He's now much more deliberate in his approach to negotiations, and he has shared with us that as a small company, he feels totally empowered and confident now to go toe-to-toe with the biggest organizations in the world. So there are three types of clients that we generally work with. Those who like to gain confidence from deploying a globally proven business negotiation system that's used by some of the world's leading brands. Those who like to have higher close rates and shorter deal cycles. And those who would like to have higher margins and less discounting in the face of powerful vendors, professional procurement, and senior executives. So I'd like to invite you to schedule a one-on-one business negotiation strategy session with me personally or with one of my senior colleagues. Our strategy session will zero in on a custom-tailored plan to help you solve the three biggest problems that most business professionals face. Number one, negotiating both strategically as well as tactically with powerful vendors, professional buyers, and experienced executives. Secondly, presenting deal proposals in a way that your counterparts clearly understand the value and that they're not just fixated on the price. And lastly, applying a proven and structured business negotiation process, equipping you with the confidence to close high consistently. So who is the strategy session for? It's aimed at business negotiators who lack the confidence and skills to sell themselves as peer-level experts to their counterparts. It's aimed at those who are selling products, services, and solutions to organizations where they are often blindsided and railroaded by professional procurement. It's aimed at those who are selling complex, high-value products, services, and solutions, and who struggle to navigate the labyrinth of stakeholder identification and decision-making. It's for those who don't come from a natural sales background, and for those who don't like to be salesy or sleazy in their approach. It's aimed at those who know that they are good at what they do and who believe that they can dominate their marketplace and achieve their career goals. It's also aimed at those who truly love the marketplace, who love deal making, and who value results above everything else. But it's very important that it's understood that this strategy session really targets those who understand that they need to have some skin in the game to realize success. You know, we really work with people who know that they always have to get better. This is not aimed if I need to convince you that you need to get better. This is for those who know that the gap between them and others will continue to get wider, either positively or negatively. So who is the strategy session not for? Well, it's not for people who are just getting started or who like the idea of going into business. It's not for people who make excuses and who complain. You see, you can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. It's not for people who are only stuck in information gathering mode and who are not prepared to take action and get results. And it's definitely not aimed at people who are not serious about remarkably improving their business negotiation results and who really want to transform their business prospects. You see, this is a personal, custom-tailored one-on-one strategy session with you and me or one of my senior team members. And this is where we really begin working to figure out what it is that you want and how to make it happen in the fastest time possible. So go below this video right now, click on the button to apply, and see if you qualify for a one-on-one business negotiation strategy session with myself or one of my senior colleagues. I look forward to meeting you.